Chapter 35-32. This was a battle without any suspense. Under the joint suppression of the four quasi-emperors, Heavenly King Fengxiang Mansion and Heavenly King Wushuang Mansion were reduced to ashes. The two Heavenly Kings were killed, and the other Divine Emperor from Heavenly King Wushuang Mansion was also killed without much resistance. More than half of the other experts were also killed. The remaining experts all surrendered and were taken down by the Saint Emperor's guards. Many people at the scene felt like they were in a dream. The famous Heavenly King Wushuang, Heavenly King Fengxiang, and Heavenly King Haosen had fallen just like that. These were all overlords, and it was difficult to meet them. Each of them was a top figure in the Taishu dynasty, but now, they were so worthless and were easily killed. Alright, today, all the traitors have been killed. Everyone else, please take a seat. The Taishu Saint Emperor waved his hand. Everyone sat down, but they were still trembling with fear. However, there is still one person who must be punished today. Unexpectedly, the Taishu Saint Emperor spoke again, which shocked many people and made them fearful. Then, the Taishu Saint Emperor's gaze fell on the area at the bottom, and finally fell on Lu Ming. Lu Ming's face changed. He did not expect the Taishu Saint Emperor to target him. Was it because of the Blue Merchant's soul mother? In an instant, several thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Lu Ming, Marquis Lu. The Taishu Saint Emperor said lightly. Your Majesty, may I know why you called me? Lu Ming had calmed down, stood up and cupped his fists. The youngest Marquis of the Taishu dynasty reached the peak of the Divine King realm at such a young age, and suppressed all the geniuses of the Tianyi sacred dynasty. No wonder you are Yu's successor. You are even more outstanding than you. The Taishu dynasty said lightly, and his voice spread throughout the scene. As soon as he said this, the scene suddenly fell silent. At this moment, time seemed to have frozen. Everyone widened their eyes and looked at Lu Ming in a daze, full of surprise. There was only one Yu that the Taishu Saint Emperor mentioned. That was the extremely talented prince, Jing Yu. Lu Ming was actually Jing Yu's successor? At this moment, Lu Ming and Blue Merchant were equally shocked. The Taishu Saint Emperor already knew. Lu Ming didn't say anything, but his mind was racing. When he saw that Lu Ming was silent, the Taishu Saint Emperor continued, You don't have to deny it. I know you too well. Therefore, when I first saw you, I knew that you were Yu's successor. You have his aura on you. There's no mistake about it. Later on, when the Great Void Imperial Academy was held, you obtained third place. Originally, you could have made a condition for me, but you used that condition to save Blue Merchant. That made me even more certain. Could it be the power of a sovereign again? Lu Ming's heart stirred. Back then, Blue Merchant had recognized him as Jing Yu's successor at first sight. In that case, others could as well, as long as they knew Jing Yu well. At this moment, the Crown Prince and State Preceptor looked at Lu Ming in shock. They were clearly surprised. They also didn't expect Lu Ming to be Jing Yu's successor. What? Are you still going to deny it? The Taishu Saint Emperor asked. That's right, I am indeed Prince Jing Yu's successor. Lu Ming spoke. Since he was already exposed, there was no need to hide it. He would just reveal it. The moment he said that, the crowd went into an uproar. This was too surprising. Lu Ming was actually Jing Yu's successor. No wonder he was so outstanding. I'm just curious. Since the Saint Emperor already knew that I was Jing Yu's successor, why didn't you expose me earlier? Lu Ming continued to ask. Why did I expose you earlier? I wanted to see how your successor is like. Is he as outstanding as him? Now, it seems like you didn't disappoint me. You're even more outstanding than exceeding my expectations. But now, I can't let you live. The Taishu Saint Emperor's voice turned cold. Many people, including Lu Ming, were shocked by these words. The Taishu Saint Emperor's last sentence was obviously to get rid of Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes sharpened. Lu Ming, under the Blue Merchant scheme, you've improved your strength step by step. In the end, you want to take revenge for Jing Yu, right? The Taishu Saint Emperor's eyes were as bright as the sun, as if he could see through Lu Ming. Revenge? Saint Emperor, you're overthinking. I just want to reverse the verdict for Prince Jing Yu. I believe that Prince Jingyu left a message saying that he was wronged back then. I just want to find out the truth of what happened back then. Lu Ming said. Reverse the verdict? I killed Jingyu back then. If you want to reverse the verdict, isn't that the same as taking revenge on me? The Taishu Saint Emperor sneered, his killing intent cold. At this moment, he was calling Jingyu by his name. Saint Emperor, Lu Ming has no intention of taking revenge on you. As long as you help Lu Ming find out the truth of what happened back then and clear Prince Jingyu's name, that will be enough. Lu Ming said. The truth? What Jingyu did back then is the truth. Lu Ming, you've been hiding your identity and increasing your strength. You have ulterior motives and are disgraceful. Kill yourself and I'll leave your corpse intact. The Taishu Saint Emperor said coldly. Lu Ming's face turned cold. He didn't expect the Taishu Saint Emperor to be so unreasonable and want to kill him. In his opinion, even if the Taishu Saint Emperor knew that he was Jingyu's successor, he wouldn't kill him so easily. After all, he just wanted to reverse the verdict for Jingyu. Could it be that there was a deeper story behind what happened back then? Saint Emperor, are you so afraid of the truth of what happened back then? What was the truth hidden back then? Also, Jingyu and the Saint Concubine were lovers, but you forcefully took her away. I suspect that you framed Prince Jingyu back then. Lu Ming shouted. Since the Saint Emperor wanted to kill him, he might as well go all out and say anything. As soon as he said that, many people were shocked and looked at Lu Ming in shock. Audacious, truly audacious. This matter was taboo for the Saint Emperor. No one dared to mention it in front of him. Those who did were all dead. But not only did Lu Ming dare to mention it, he even said that Jingyu was framed by the Saint Emperor. He didn't know what death was. As expected, the Saint Emperor was enraged. A terrifying aura emanated from his body as he roared, "Disgraceful! Men kill Lu Ming on the spot. No, cripple him first. I want him to beg for death." Immediately, a burly man stepped out from behind the Saint Emperor and charged at Lu Ming. This burly man was one of the Saint Emperor's guards and had the cultivation of a 9th-level divine lord. To deal with Lu Ming, there was no need for a quasi-emperor to take action. The Saint Emperor knew that Lu Ming had an 8th-level divine lord by his side. Therefore, it was enough for him to send a 9th-level divine lord guard. Chapter 35-33. The relationship between the sacred imperial concubine and Jingyu had always been the Taishu sacred emperor's taboo. No one dared to mention it. After all, it was seriously too unpleasant to hear. Lu Ming actually dared to mention it in public. The sacred emperor was thoroughly enraged and directly had people kill Lu Ming. Kneel down and kowtow to the sacred emperor and admit your mistake for me. A middle-aged guard wearing iron armor, his aura thick like the sea, stepped over in the air, a palm smacking over toward Lu Ming. An enormous palm seal formed, crushing over toward Lu Ming. This palm, forget about Lu Ming, even an 8th-level divine lord existence would also be pressed down by his palm force. Clearly, the middle-aged guard knew that there was an 8th-level divine lord existence by Lu Ming's side. But so what? It was fine if the other party did not make a move. If he wanted to make a move, then kneel down together. Get lost. At this time, an angry roar came from Lu Ming's side. A burly figure rushed out explosively, slamming a punch out. The void trembled wildly. The horrifying fist force slammed into the middle-aged guard's palm seal, making his palm seal crumble instantly. The fist force did not stop, the berserk power surging wildly toward the middle-aged guard. The middle-aged guard's expression changed. Both arms trembled, forming a layer of defensive divine power, blocking the attack of the fist force. But he still retreated repeatedly. 9th-level divine lord. The middle-aged guard opened his mouth rather incredulously. The one who attacked just now beside Lu Ming was a 9th-level divine lord existence. Therefore, he was directly repelled due to his carelessness just now. But why would there be a 9th-level divine lord existence by Lu Ming's side? Everyone present was stunned, looking at Lu Ming somewhat incredulously. 9th-level divine lord, in the Taishu dynasty, that was a top powerhouse. The 27 heavenly king palaces added up were just 10. Lu Ming, this junior youth's side, just a marquee manor actually had a 9th-level Divine Lord existence. 9th-level Divine Lord, Lu Ming, I underestimated you. The Great Void Saint Sovereign was also very surprised. Previously, he did not pay attention to those people around Lu Ming at all. The way he saw it, the strongest around Lu Ming was just an 8th-level Divine Lord. It was not worth paying attention to at all. Therefore, he had no idea how many experts Lu Ming had by his side. In fact, it was the same for the others. In addition, Giant Bear, Etian, and the others tried their best to conceal their auras. No one noticed them at all. Lu Ming, leave now. Blue Merchant transmitted his voice to Lu Ming. All right, Giant Bear, let's go. Lu Ming shouted in a low voice. Then, Giant Bear and the others swept up Lu Ming and rushed towards the sky. The Taishu Saint Emperor had already steeled his heart to kill him. If he didn't leave now, when would he? You think you can leave in the Imperial Palace? Sixth brother, kill them. The moment Lu Ming and the others rose into the air, the Taishu Saint Emperor issued this order coldly. Boom! The sixth Wangya soared into the sky and the space kept exploding. A terrifying saber light bloomed from the sixth Wangya's hand and slashed towards Lu Ming and the others. The sixth Wangya was a quasi-emperor realm expert. This saber strike was extremely terrifying. He wanted to kill Lu Ming and the others with a single strike. However, at this moment, Giant Bear made his move. He roared and his body swelled rapidly. The armor on his body exploded into pieces. Then, a huge bear paw slapped towards the saber light. Boom! The saber light shook violently and then exploded with a bang. What? Everyone's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. The sixth Wangya had personally made a move and his saber strike was blocked. The sixth Wangya was a quasi-emperor. When he dealt with Heavenly King Wushuang and the others just now, he was so powerful that it made them despair. But now, his terrifying saber strike was blocked. Only a quasi-emperor could block the saber strike of a quasi-emperor and be unharmed. Lu Ming actually had a quasi-emperor by his side? What was a quasi-emperor? It was the peak combat power of the Taishu dynasty. There were only a few of them. What did Lu Ming do to have such an expert by his side? The Taishu Saint Emperor, the Crown Prince, the State Preceptor, and the others all widened their eyes in shock. Attack, kill them. The Taishu Saint Emperor roared. Bush. This time, it was not only the sixth Wangya who attacked again. The Jun Wang and a black-robed elder also attacked. The Saint Emperor ordered that they could not let Lu Ming and the others escape. Therefore, in an instant, 3 quasi-emperors charged towards Lu Ming and the others. The 3 quasi-emperors attacked with all their might. They were too fast. Even though Lu Ming and the others had already rushed into the starry sky, they still caught up with them. The 3 attacks were 100 times brighter than meteors. They blasted towards them and wherever they passed, the space exploded. You guys protect Lu Ming and Senior Lan. We will block the quasi-emperors. Etian transmitted his voice to Zhu Tai and the other 9th-level Divine Lord experts. Then he suddenly turned around and a huge battle saber appeared in his hands. Divine power burst forth and his armor exploded, revealing his true appearance. Etian could not care less about hiding his identity now. Clang, clang. Etian's battle saber vibrated violently. 2 bright saber lights burst forth and slashed towards the Jun Wang and a black-robed elder. Boom, boom. 2 terrifying explosions rang out. In the starry sky, it was as if 2 stars had exploded, setting off a terrifying cosmic storm. In the end, the Jun Wang and the black-robed elder's attacks were blocked. However, Etian was unable to defeat the 2 of them and was forced to retreat. At the same time, the Giant Bear and the 6th Wangya exchanged blows and both of them retreated at the same time. Another quasi-emperor! Someone exclaimed in disbelief. There was actually another quasi-emperor by Lu Ming's side. Countless people's hearts were filled with shock and fear. 2 quasi-emperors. With such combat power, who in the Taishu dynasty could compare to them? Other than the imperial family, no one could compare to them. As for some of the older people, their eyes were filled with shock. This person looks familiar. He looks like Etian. It's indeed Etian, the leader of the 3 generals under Prince Jingyu. Lu Ming is indeed the successor of Jingyu. There was an uproar. Although Lu Ming had already admitted it, now that they saw Yi Tian and Lu Ming together, there was no doubt that Lu Ming was the successor of Jingyu. A group of traitors. Very well, let's catch all of you in one fell swoop today. The great void sacred emperor's cold voice rang out. Swish, swish, swish. The Jun Wang, the sixth Wang Ye, and the black-robed elder continued to attack. They pushed their combat power to the extreme and charged towards the giant bear and Yi Tian. The five quasi-emperors broke out in a fierce battle. However, those who could reach the quasi-emperor realm were peerless geniuses. Hence, their combat power was not much different. Only those who were abnormally strong could be invincible among their peers. Hence, it was difficult for the giant bear and Yi Tian to withstand the two of them alone. Leave the two of them to us. You go and kill Lu Ming. The Jun Wang transmitted his voice to the black-robed elder. At the same time, he launched a terrifying attack and fought with Yi Tian, freeing the black-robed elder. Alright. The black-robed elder's body swayed. He bypassed Yi Tian and charged towards Lu Ming. Damn it. Yi Tian wanted to help but was entangled by the Jun Wang. Chapter 35-34. I miscalculated. Lu Ming furrowed his brows. He hadn't expected that the sage emperor had already known of his identity and was determined to kill him. He really hadn't expected this. According to his calculations, even if the sacred emperor knew his identity, he might not kill him. After all, Jingyu was the one who made the mistake, and Jingyu was the sacred emperor's son. Wouldn't the sacred emperor be heartbroken if he killed Jingyu? Lu Ming was Jingyu's successor, and so many years had passed. What reason did the sacred emperor have to kill him? Was he really afraid that he would seek revenge? It was definitely not that simple. If he knew this would happen, he would have joined forces with Heavenly King Wushuang and the others. He would not be in such a passive position now. The black-robed elder was very fast. He caught up with Lu Ming in an instant. A pitch-black ghost claw grabbed at Lu Ming and the others. Block it! Zhu Tai shouted. Then his figure flashed. A total of 5 ninth-layer Divine King existences beside Lu Ming attacked together. 5 dazzling attacks gathered together and bombarded the pitch-black ghost claw. The starry sky trembled and energy swept out in all directions. Then, the ghost claw shook and was pushed back. It was blocked. The 5 ninth-layer Divine Monarchs joined forces and blocked the black-robed elder's attack. Heavens, 5 ninth-layer Divine Monarchs. Everyone at the scene was dumbfounded and dumbfounded. They were all stupefied. Today, Lu Ming had given everyone too many surprises. He actually had so many top experts around him. 2 quasi-emperors and 5 ninth-layer Divine Monarchs. They had the power to disrupt the Taishu dynasty's situation. Why aren't you attacking? The great void sacred emperor looked at the other black-robed elder beside him. Yes. The black-robed elder's eyes flickered a few times. He did not seem to want to attack, but the sacred emperor had ordered him to. Just as the black-robed old man was about to attack, a resplendent sword light suddenly burst out from the starry sky. It traversed the universe and was incomparably resplendent as it slashed towards the black-robed old man who was attacking Lu Ming and the others. This black-robed old man had green hair and green eyes. At this moment, his green eyes were filled with shock. He waved his hands, forming a pitch-black long spear and thrusting it forward. With a boom, the pitch-black spear collided with the sword light, and then both of them dissipated. At this moment, a white-haired old man appeared in the starry sky. "Thousand Saints, old Heavenly King!" Someone exclaimed. That's right, this old man was Thousand Saint old Heavenly King. Sage Emperor, it's so lively today, yet you didn't invite me. That's not very kind of you. Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King's voice reverberated throughout the entire place. The great void Saint Emperor's face was somewhat gloomy. The reason why he did not invite the Holy Old Heavenly King was because the Holy Old Heavenly King was a quasi-emperor. When a quasi-emperor fought with his life on the line, it was still very shocking. Shao Chun did not invite the Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King over to prevent any accidents from happening to the Shao clan residents. As long as the Shao clan residence was destroyed, Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King would not be able to cause any trouble in the future. Shao Chun did not expect Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King to come. Obviously, he had rushed over after hearing the news. Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King, you came at the right time. These people are all traitors. Take down the traitors for me. The great Void Sage Emperor said coldly. Traitors? How can Lu Ming be a traitor? Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King said. Old Heavenly King, Lu Ming is the successor of Jin Yu. At this moment, Blue Merchant took off his black robe, revealing his true face as he spoke to Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King. Blue Merchant, you're not dead. Seeing Blue Merchant, the great Void Sage Emperor let out a furious roar. He instantly understood that he had been deceived. Of course I'm not dead. As a Sage Emperor, you secretly sent people to kill me after knowing that I have a spiritual treasure on me. How laughable! Blue Merchant said coldly. Since they had completely fallen out with each other, Blue Merchant did not care about the Sage Emperor's face and directly exposed him. Many people looked at each other when they heard this. The great Void Sage Emperor had secretly sent people to kill Blue Merchant. It was really disappointing that a Sage Emperor would do such a thing. Of course, they were only thinking about it in their hearts. They were not as bold as Blue Merchant to say it out loud. The great Void Sage Emperor's face was extremely gloomy. He said, Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King, why aren't you making a move to take down the traitor? Since Lu Ming is the successor of Jin Yu, how can he be a traitor? In my opinion, the matter of Jin Yu back then was also very suspicious. I know Jin Yu. He would never do such a thing. He was most likely framed. Lu Ming should want to find out the truth about Jin Yu back then. I think it's necessary to find out the truth. Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King said. Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King, are you rebelling too? The great Void Sage Emperor said. Sage Emperor, Jin Yu is your most outstanding son. If he was framed, don't you want to find out the truth? Clear his name? The Holy Thousandth Elder said. I saw what happened back then with my own eyes. There's no need to investigate further. Saint Qian, I wanted to spare your life on account of our many years of friendship. Since you're so stubborn, I'll kill you as well. The great Void Saint Emperor said coldly. Advance and retreat with the Old Heavenly King. Thousand Saints Heavenly King roared and led the experts of his residence into the starry sky to meet up with Thousand Saints Old Heavenly King. The current Thousand Saints Heavenly King was the son of the old Thousand Saints Heavenly King. Naturally, he would stand by the old Heavenly King's side unconditionally. The atmosphere at the scene was extremely tense, and a great battle could break out at any moment. Prince Jing Yu was innocent back then. At this moment, a voice rang out. Her voice was crisp and pleasant to the ears. It was like the sound of pearls and jade colliding together. Once one heard it, one's heart would calm down. As he spoke, several figures appeared in the sky above the great void holy capital. The leader was a woman. She looked to be in her 20s, but her charm was unparalleled. She was devastatingly beautiful. What a beautiful woman! Lu Ming's eyes flickered. This woman's beauty could be ranked in the top few among all the women he had seen. Moreover, she had a special temperament that made it difficult for people to shift their gaze away from her. The Imperial Concubine. Blue Merchant muttered, his eyes filled with shock. The Imperial Concubine? This is the Imperial Concubine? Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. This was the first time he had seen the Imperial Concubine. She was indeed very beautiful. No wonder the great Void Saint Emperor wanted her for himself. At this moment, the Imperial Concubine became the center of attention. Everyone's eyes fell on her, not only because of her beauty, but also because of what she had just said. Prince Jing Yu was innocent. In this world, the Imperial Concubine was the one who knew the most about what had happened back then. After all, she was the one who had been involved. Could it be that there was more to what had happened back then? Shishue, who allowed you to come out? Go back. The great Void Saint Emperor's face was extremely gloomy as he shouted coldly. So many years have passed. Since everyone is here today, including Jing Yu's successor, it's time to clarify what happened back then. Jing Yu has been wronged for so many years. It's time to clear his name, the imperial concubine said. Lu Ming and Blue Merchant looked at each other and saw the surprise and doubt in each other's eyes. The imperial concubine, Kong Shishue, actually said that Jing Yu was innocent. Wasn't she the one who had framed Jing Yu back then? Chapter 35:35. Shishue, what did you say? Are you out of your mind? Go back to where you came from. Do you hear me? The great Void Saint Emperor shouted coldly, his voice filled with killing intent. Are you still trying to threaten me now? But I've already made preparations over the years. I've already moved my family to a safe place. Your tricks are useless against me. The imperial concubine seemed to have thought of something as her eyes turned cold. As soon as these words were spoken, many people were greatly shocked and their imaginations ran wild. What did the imperial concubine mean? Could it be that the Saint Emperor used the imperial concubine's family to threaten her back then? Did he make her do something she was unwilling to do? There were many secrets hidden in this. I think you've really gone crazy. Men, bring the imperial concubine back. The great Void Saint Emperor shouted coldly as endless killing intent brewed in the depths of his eyes. Jing Shu, from now on, I'm no longer under your control. From now on, I'm no longer the imperial concubine. I'm Kong Shishue. Kong Shishue's voice rang out as divine power emanated from her. Her glabella glowed as a golden steel ring appeared, suffused with a resplendent radiance. The other three people beside the imperial concubine, 2 old women and a middle-aged woman, were also suffused with a resplendent radiance as divine power erupted. 9th-level divine lords. The sacred imperial concubine and the 3 people that she brought were actually all 9th-level divine lord cultivation. No one was surprised. Kong Shishue was also a peerless genius back then. Although she was not as good as Jing Yu, her talent was unparalleled among her peers. It was not surprising that she had cultivated to 9th-level divine lords. However, Lu Ming and Blue Merchant were still very surprised. It's her. Lu Ming and Blue Merchant couldn't help but exclaim softly. Lu Ming and Blue Merchant recognized Kong Shishue the moment she used the Vajra ring. Back then, the great Void Saint Emperor had tricked Lu Ming into finding his parents. Then, Lu Ming and Blue Merchant were surrounded and attacked. 2 groups of people had saved them. Blue Merchant speculated that one of the groups was sent by the Crown Prince. There was another mysterious lady who used a diamond ring. Lan Shang and Lu Ming could not figure out who she was. Now that they looked at her, they understood. The person who saved them back then was Kong Shishue. It was normal for Kong Shishue, as the divine royal concubine, to know about the Taishu Sage Emperor's plan. In that case, before they entered the great illusionary divine capital, someone had warned Lu Ming and the rest that this danger was probably sent by the divine royal concubine. Attack! If he resists, kill him! The great Void Saint Emperor roared, his face contorted. Protect the imperial concubine! Lu Ming shouted. He gathered with the giant bear and Etion and rushed towards Kong Shishue. Nothing must happen to Kong Shishue. Today, the truth of Jing Yu's matter would be revealed. Attack, attack together! The great Void Saint Emperor roared at the guards behind him. Yes! The black-robed elder beside the great Void Saint Emperor obeyed. This black-robed elder was bald. At that moment, all the divine power in his body exploded. Everyone thought that he was going to soar into the sky and attack Kong Shishue. However, the next scene shocked everyone. A dazzling sword radiance shot out from the bald black-robed elder's hand and pierced towards the great Void Saint Emperor's heart. The great Void Saint Emperor had never expected the bald black-robed elder to attack him. It was too late for him to block the attack. The sword radiance pierced through the great Void Saint Emperor's back, through his heart, and through his chest. Moreover, the terrifying sword chi shot out and destroyed the great Void Saint Emperor's heart in an instant. Then, the sword chi spread around his body. The great Void Saint Emperor let out a beast-like roar. A terrifying force exploded like the sun. It turned into billowing waves of energy that surged towards the bald black-robed elder. The great Void Saint Emperor was already half a step into the divine emperor realm. Now that he was fighting with his life on the line, his battle strength was at its peak. However, the bald black-robed elder was also a quasi-emperor. His speed was shocking. In a flash, he dodged the Great Void Saint Emperor's attack and landed beside the Crown Prince. However, some of the people around the Great Void Saint Emperor were not so lucky. Those who were below the 8th level Divine Lord realm were turned into ashes before they could even scream. Some of the 8th level and 9th level Divine Lord realm guards coughed out blood and retreated. They were severely injured. In an instant, a few hundred people died, including some concubines, princesses, and princes. Everyone at the scene was stunned, including Lu Ming, Blue Merchant, and Kong Shishua. This scene was beyond everyone's expectations. The bald black-robed elder had actually launched a sneak attack on the Great Void Saint Emperor and severely injured him with a single move. The Great Void Saint Emperor roared. His hair was disheveled and he coughed out blood. That move just now had caused too much damage to him. It had almost destroyed his bodily functions. After all, it was a sneak attack from a quasi-emperor. It was too terrifying. It was already a miracle that he was still alive. The Great Void Saint Emperor's face was contorted. His eyes were red as he stared at the Crown Prince and roared, "Unfilial son, it's you!" The bald black-robed elder landed beside the Crown Prince. At this moment, the Crown Prince's eyes were filled with excitement. He was so excited that his body was trembling. Today's events had really exceeded his expectations. Originally, he had wanted to fight to the death and kill the Great Void Saint Emperor today. However, he did not have much confidence. However, Lu Ming had so many experts around him. They were able to restrain the Great Void Saint Emperor's forces. Moreover, even the Saint Concubine had stepped forward. All of this had distracted the Great Void Saint Emperor and made him lower his guard. All of this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him. That bald black-robed elder had already sided with him. He secretly sent out a signal. The bald black-robed elder's sneak attack had indeed severely injured the Great Void Saint Emperor. "Father, your words are too harsh." The Crown Prince stood up calmly and said, "I have long suspected that Brother Jingyu was framed. Today, it seems that it was indeed the case. However, Father has repeatedly stopped the Saint Concubine, no Kong Shishue, from telling the truth. After thinking about it, I decided to stand on the side of justice and use this method to stop Father and force Kong Shishue to tell the truth." The Crown Prince found a very good reason for himself. He was not killing his father. He would only stand on the side of justice. "Saint Emperor! Your Majesty!" The 6th Wangye and the green-haired elder exclaimed. They returned to the Great Void Saint Emperor's side and protected him. However, the Guard King did not return to the Great Void Saint Emperor's side. Instead, he stepped forward and came to the Crown Prince's side. "You have also betrayed me?" The Great Void Saint Emperor glared at the Guard King. The Guard King could be said to have been groomed by him. He did not expect the Guard King to side with the Crown Prince. "Your Majesty is getting old. In the future, the Crown Prince will be the next Saint Emperor." The Guard King said plainly, "All of you." The Great Void Saint Emperor was enraged. He then looked at the second prince and said, "Jingkuan, go and get rid of this unfilial son. When I die, the Saint Emperor's position will be yours." Chapter 35-36. The second prince's name was Jingkuan. However, the second prince sat there motionlessly as though he had not heard anything. "Unfilial son! Unfilial son!" The Great Void Sacred Emperor roared like a madman. Those heavenly kings would not help the Great Void Sacred Emperor. Today, the Great Void Sacred Emperor wanted to eliminate all the heavenly kings. These people could not wait for the Great Void Sacred Emperor to be killed. What happened today was exactly what they wanted. Today, the Great Void Sacred Emperor was truly deserted. "Kong Shishue, what happened back then? Tell us." The Crown Prince said to Kong Shishue. "All right." Kong Shishue nodded and said, "Back then, Crown Prince Jingyu was innocent. It was the Sacred Emperor who forced me to frame Crown Prince Jingyu." Kong Shishue's words shocked everyone. Once she said that, there was an uproar. Everyone was so shocked that they were dumbfounded. Lu Ming, Blue Merchant, Itian, and the rest were the same. They had never imagined that the mastermind behind this was actually the Great Void Saint Emperor. They had thought that the one who framed Jing Yu was either the crown prince or the second prince. Never in their wildest dreams did they expect the Great Void Sacred Emperor to be the one who framed Jing Yu. The Great Void Sacred Emperor was Jing Yu's father. But why did he frame Jing Yu? Jing Yu had unparalleled talent and was the strongest in the history of the Taishu dynasty. He could have broken through to the divine emperor realm and led the Taishu dynasty to greater heights. Why did he frame Jing Yu and want to kill him? Holy Thousand King asked, his heart full of doubts. This was also the question in everyone's mind. Not only was Jing Yu his son, but he was also unparalleled. Why did the Great Void Sacred Emperor want to kill Jing Yu? It's because Jing Yu's talent is too strong that Jing Shu killed him. Jing Shu is a selfish and narrow-minded person. Kong Shishue said, her eyes full of resentment. Shut up. Shut up for this emperor. The Great Void Sacred Emperor roared. If you dare to do it, why don't you dare to let me say it? Kong Shishue sneered and continued, Jing Shu is jealous of Jing Yu's talent. Since Jing Yu reached the quasi-emperor realm, he became even more jealous. Moreover, he is afraid that Jing Yu will reach the divine emperor realm. Once Jing Yu enters the divine emperor realm, he will be the uncrowned king of the Taishu dynasty, the real number one. Jing Shu is afraid that his position will be threatened, so he wants to get rid of Jing Yu. However, at that time, Jing Yu was already invincible in the Taishu dynasty. Even Jing Shu himself was no match for him. Killing Jing Yu was easier said than done. Therefore, he used me, my parents, my brothers and sisters, and all my relatives to threaten me. If I didn't cooperate with him, he would kill all my relatives. I had no choice but to cooperate with him and frame Jing Yu. Moreover, I poisoned Jing Yu's wine. At the crucial moment, Jing Shu purposely arrived and attacked Jing Yu when he was distracted. He severely injured Jing Yu. You all know what happened after that. Following Kong Shishue's words, the entire place fell into a deathly silence. No one expected that the truth would be like this. All of this had been planned by the Taishu Saint Emperor. He had even wanted to kill his own son, who was the most capable. He was truly selfish to the extreme. So it's like this, ha! Lan Shang laughed heartily, but there were tears in his eyes. The matter of Jing Yu had always been a demon in Blue Merchant's heart. Because of this matter, his cultivation was crippled and he almost became a cripple. He had always wanted to find out the truth, but the truth was out of his expectation. There is actually such a person in this world. Lu Ming whispered, feeling sad for Jing Yu. Jing Yu was killed by his own father and his lover. However, Lu Ming did not doubt that there was indeed such a selfish person in this world. To the Great Void Sacred Emperor, he did not care about the glory of the Taishu dynasty. Even if Jing Yu broke through to the divine emperor realm and led the Taishu dynasty to glory, what did it have to do with him? He was not the one who led the Taishu dynasty to glory. What he wanted was his own glory. Everyone who surpassed him and threatened his position should die. There was another reason why he killed Jing Yu, and that was because of me. Kong Shishue continued to speak, but her eyes were filled with sadness. That year, Jing Yu and I were truly in love. However, one day, Jing Shu saw me and wanted to have me. I refused, so he captured my family and held them in his hands to threaten me. In the end, I could only agree. Kong Shishue said, "What? Despicable!" Blue Merchant roared. Everyone came to a realization. At that time, everyone was puzzled as to why Kong Shishue would suddenly marry the Great Void Sacred Emperor and become the sacred concubine. Many people said that it was because of Kong Shishue's vanity. It turned out that the Great Void Sacred Emperor had captured Kong Shishue's family and threatened Kong Shishue. First, he threatened Kong Shishue, forcing Kong Shishue to marry him. Then he threatened Kong Shishue, forcing Kong Shishue to frame Jing Yu. Despicable. Truly despicable. Lu Ming had never seen such a despicable person. As long as Jing Yu is alive, the world will always think of my relationship with Jing Yu. They will always think that Jing Shu stole his son's woman. Therefore, only when Jing Yu is dead will the world forget everything. This is also one of the reasons why he wanted to kill Jing Yu. All these years, I have been secretly moving my family away. I have been looking for an opportunity to reveal the truth and prove Jing Yu's innocence. Kong Shishue continued. Jing Shu, I didn't expect you to be such a person. Holy Thousand King shook his head and sighed. He was heartbroken for Jing Yu. Back then, Jing Yu was the person he valued the most. He didn't expect Jing Yu to end up like this. Father, your actions are too disappointing. Originally, the Taishu dynasty could have been more glorious if brother Jing Yu was alive. I didn't expect that he would be framed and killed by you. Although you are my father, today, I will seek justice for brother Jing Yu. At this moment, the crown prince stepped forward and said loudly. Many people looked at him with disdain. The crown prince's words were truly shameless. Back then, the crown prince was one of the people who wanted Jing Yu dead the most. If Jing Yu was alive, his position as the crown prince would be unstable. Back then, many people thought that the crown prince had framed Jing Yu, but he couldn't produce any evidence. Now, he said that he wanted to seek justice for Jing Yu? He was just looking for an excuse to kill his father. Haha, do you really think that you can kill me today? This is the palace, my territory. I have just sent out the news that the army will be here soon. Today I will kill all of you. All of you must die. The Great Void Sacred Emperor roared crazily. He wanted to kill everyone at the scene. Anyone who knew about this had to die. Chapter 35-37. The Great Void Saint Emperor had completely lost his mind. He wanted to kill everyone present. He still had a trump card and a foundation. This was the Imperial Palace, and there was a group of Imperial Guards, all of whom were experts. Furthermore, the so-called foundation of the Imperial Palace could not only consist of the two black-robed elders. There were many more quasi-emperor experts. As long as these people arrived, he could turn the tables and kill the Crown Prince, Lu Ming, and Kong Shishue. However, in the next moment, boom, boom, a terrifying explosion came from the Imperial Palace. A bright sword light shot into the sky. At the same time, a divine dragon could be seen piercing through the clouds. Its aura was extremely terrifying. At the same time, there was a deafening battle cry. You've also bribed the Bone Sword tribe and the Dragonman tribe. The Great Void Saint Emperor's expression changed drastically as he stared at the Crown Prince. In the Taishu dynasty, there were some ancient families that had existed for even longer than the Taishu dynasty. For example, the Bone Sword tribe and the Dragonman tribe. The Great Void Saint Emperor knew very well that these ancient families had quasi-emperors. The Sword Light and Divine Dragon figure just now were quasi-emperors. Not only that, but more than half of the Imperial Guards have also fallen into my hands. If I wasn't confident, how would I dare to attack? The Crown Prince sneered. At this moment, a figure rushed out from the depths of the Imperial Palace. It was a middle-aged man in a black robe. His attire was very similar to the bald black-robed elder and the green-haired black-robed elder. This black-robed man was extremely fast, and the aura he emitted was that of a quasi-emperor. However, there were two people chasing after the black-robed elder. These two people were quasi-emperors from the Bone Sword tribe and the Dragonman tribe. In an instant, the black-robed man appeared not far from the Great Void Saint Emperor. Zhu Yan, why are you alone? The Great Void Saint Emperor asked. Saint Emperor, the others have all left. They've betrayed us. The black-robed man shouted and came to the Saint Emperor's side. What? The Great Void Saint Emperor's expression changed drastically, revealing a look of despair. Behind them, the Bone Sword tribe and the Dragonman tribe had arrived. Together with the Crown Prince and the others, they surrounded the Great Void Saint Emperor and the others. Old man, you're already so old. Why aren't you dead yet? You want to use the twin stones to live another life? Today, I'll send you on your way. The Crown Prince roared. He couldn't wait any longer. The Crown Prince was keenly aware that the reserves of the imperial household were far greater than this. There was no time to lose. He had to kill the Sage Emperor first. In the next moment, the Army King, the Imperial Advisor, the bald black-robed elder, and the experts of the Bone Sword tribe and the Dragon Human tribe, a total of 5 quasi-emperors, joined forces to attack the Taishu Saint Emperor. On the Great Void Sage Emperor's side, there were only 3 quasi-emperors: the 6th prince, the green-haired black-robed elder, and the black-robed man. As for the Sage Emperor himself, he had been severely injured and barely had a tenth of his strength left. With so many quasi-emperors fighting, the scene was earth-shattering. Even though countless runes appeared on the ground and blocked the terrifying force, the entire great illusionary divine capital still shook violently as if it was about to explode. "Let's retreat." In the starry skies, Lu Ming spoke. They retreated continuously, retreating far away to watch from afar. Kong Shishue and a few others also retreated far away, not far from Lu Ming and the others. Boom! The great illusionary divine capital shook. Terrifying divine light burst out, rushing into the depths of the starry skies. The scene was extremely terrifying. In the end, the Crown Prince's side had the absolute upper hand. They had 5 quasi-emperors, while the Taishu Saint Emperor only had 3. After exchanging more than 10 blows, the 6th prince and the other 2 were forced to retreat. The Taishu Saint Emperor roared as he unleashed his remaining strength. The divine power in his body burned like flames. After exchanging a blow with the imperial advisor, he was still severely injured. As he retreated, he vomited large mouthfuls of blood. His injuries had worsened. At this moment, the 6th prince and the green-haired black-robed elder looked at each other and nodded silently. Then, they suddenly retreated and rushed into the starry skies. They had actually escaped without a fight. "Traitor!" The Taishu Saint Emperor roared in despair. The Crown Prince and the others' eyes flickered, but they did not pursue. Killing the Sage Emperor was the most important thing now. "Old man, you have been betrayed." The Crown Prince laughed maniacally as the imperial advisor and the others charged towards the Taishu Saint Emperor. While the Crown Prince and the Sage Emperor were fighting, the people from the Heavenly King residence and the Marquis residence had already seized the opportunity to retreat and disappear from the Taishu Saint capital. It was too dangerous to stay. No matter if the Crown Prince or the imperial advisor won, who knew if they would attack them? If they did not leave now, when would they leave? "Your Majesty, I will advance and retreat with you." The black-robed man was very loyal. He stood in front of the Sage Emperor, but he was only one person. The result was already decided. Boom! The imperial advisor's punch blew a large hole in his chest. Then the army king's spear pierced through the void and pierced through his heart. In the next instant, the bone sword race's bone sword sliced through the air and beheaded the black-robed man. A quasi-emperor had fallen. Only the Taishu Saint Emperor was left. "You bastard! How dare you! You will die a horrible death." The Taishu Saint Emperor stared at the Crown Prince like a madman. "The one who will die a horrible death is you. Old man, you have already lived for 10 stellar years. What else do you want? Can't you just peacefully wait for your death? Do I have to take this step? You forced me to do this." The Crown Prince's face was ferocious. His killing intent was as cold as a knife. "Kill!" Finally, the Crown Prince gave the order. The imperial advisor and the others stepped forward. 5 attacks were launched at the Sage Emperor. Even if the Taishu Saint Emperor was at his peak, he would only die under the attacks of 5 quasi-emperors, let alone now. The Taishu Saint Emperor roared unwillingly. Under the 5 attacks, the Taishu Saint Emperor turned into ashes. A Sage Emperor of a generation had fallen in the hands of his own son. Haha! The Crown Prince laughed loudly after killing the Taishu Saint Emperor. From now on, the Taishu dynasty was his. Wait! In the next instant, the Crown Prince calmed down and looked at a place. Because there was still someone there who had not left. The second prince. At this time, the second prince had not left. He sat there with a smile, as if he did not know what had happened. "Second brother, you actually did not take the opportunity to slip away. Ha, it seems like you also want to die." The Crown Prince sneered and revealed a look of ecstasy. Originally, after killing the Taishu Saint Emperor, the second prince was a big problem for him. He did not expect the second prince to still be here. Moreover, there was no expert by his side. "Crown Prince, be careful. I will go test him," the imperial advisor said. His body moved and he rushed toward the second prince. Then he grabbed at the second prince. Without any suspense, the imperial advisor grabbed the second prince's neck. The second prince did not retaliate. No, this is not the second prince. This is a fake. The imperial advisor shouted. Suddenly, with a boom, a dazzling divine light shot out from the second prince's body and then exploded. A terrifying force bombarded the imperial advisor's body. The imperial advisor was forced to retreat. Chapter 35-38. Second prince suddenly exploded. A terrifying power engulfed the imperial preceptor. This power was extremely terrifying. Even a 9th-level divine lord existence might be blown to death if they were careless. The destructive force engulfed the Grand Master. The Grand Master's face changed, and he immediately set up layers of defense. The Grand Master was pushed back a few hundred meters. Although he managed to block the attack, he was in a sorry state with many injuries on his body. The second prince had been reduced to ashes. Good job, second brother. So the real person isn't here at all. You set up this trap to kill me? The crown prince's eyes were cold. Obviously, the second prince wasn't here at all. The second prince, from before, was a fake. He was a puppet with a terrifying force in his body. If the crown prince was the one who attacked just now, he would be in danger. Lu Ming and the group, who were a distance away, saw everything clearly. Let's go, Lu Ming said. He led Tian, Giant Bear, Holy Thousand Heavenly King, and the rest out of the place. Kong Shishue and the rest also left. The crown prince looked at the starry sky and didn't give chase. Firstly, Lu Ming and the rest were far enough away that the crown prince might not be able to catch up. Secondly, even if they caught up, Lu Ming and the rest were very powerful. If they fought with all their might, the crown prince might suffer some losses. The most important thing now was to stabilize the situation and control the Taishu sacred capital. Moreover, the second prince wasn't here, which was a big problem for the crown prince. The crown prince led his men into the depths of the palace. Lu Ming and the rest soon left the Taishu sacred capital and appeared in the starry sky. Old Heavenly King, thank you for helping us again. Lu Ming cupped his fists and thanked Holy Thousand Heavenly King. I just happened to arrive. I didn't expect something like this to happen. Sighed. Holy Thousand Heavenly King sighed. It seems like the Taishu dynasty is going to change completely. From what the crown prince said, it seems like the Saint Emperor found the twin stones and wanted to live a second life. That's why the crown prince took the opportunity to rebel. However, the second prince isn't here and he set up a trap. Obviously, he expected this. Everything is very complicated, Blue Merchant said. The second prince may look gentle on the surface, but he's actually very scheming. Everything that happened today must have something to do with the second prince. Otherwise, how could he have predicted it in advance? I'm afraid that the Taishu dynasty is going to fall into chaos soon. Then, the old Heavenly King looked at Lu Ming and asked, Lu Ming, what do you plan to do next? Let's return to the Heavenly Chaos Star Zone and observe the situation. Lu Ming said. Originally, Jing Yu's case had been completely overturned. Jing Yu's innocence had been cleared, and he could have left. However, there was still no news of his parents, so he couldn't leave. He had to find his parents. Alright, we'll return to the Thousand Saints Heavenly King's residence first to gather our men to deal with the upcoming changes. Lu Ming, if you need anything, send someone to contact us at any time. The Holy Thousandth Elder said. Thank you, Old Heavenly King. Lu Ming thanked him again. The Old Heavenly King's words clearly indicated that he was on his side. After that, Lu Ming parted ways with the Holy Thousandth Elder and the rest. He brought Tian and the rest back to the Heavenly Chaos Star Zone. On a barren planet south of the Taishu Holy Capital, a few figures stood quietly. The person leading them was the second prince of the Taishu Holy Emperor. Behind him were 3 people. 2 of them were dressed in black robes. They looked exactly the same as the bald old man in the black robe and the green-haired old man in the black robe. At that moment, ripples appeared in the void. Then, 2 figures appeared in the sky. They were the 6th Wangye and the green-haired old man in the black robe. The two figures flashed and appeared in front of the second prince. They cupped their fists at the same time. Second prince. Sixth uncle, senior Gu, you may rise. How's the situation? The second prince asked hurriedly. Of course, he was asking about the Taishu holy capital. As you expected, the crown prince has made his move. The holy emperor has been killed, but the crown prince is still alive. The sixth Wangya said. As expected, that's enough. Shocking murderous intent flashed in the second prince's eyes. However, there are some changes in the process. It's about Lu Ming, the sixth Wangya said. The sixth Wangya said. Lu Ming? The second prince looked puzzled. That's right. Immediately, the sixth prince briefly recounted what had happened. I can't believe that Lu Ming is Jing Yu's successor. Moreover, he has so many experts with him. Interesting. The heavens are on my side. The second prince laughed loudly. He was not angry when he learned that Lu Ming had so many experts with him. Instead, he was delighted. Returned to the St. Origin starfield and announced to the world that the crown prince has committed treason and killed his father. The heavens will not tolerate this. I want to suppress him and get rid of this treacherous person. The second prince said coldly. Then in a flash they left the place. After Lu Ming, Giant Bear, Yi Tian, and the others returned to the Heavenly Chaos starfield, they began to send people to pay close attention to the Taishu dynasty. At the same time, he asked Yi Tian to return to the barbarian tribe and mobilize their experts to support him. Meanwhile, Lu Ming stayed on the hidden dragon star and paid close attention to the Taishu dynasty's movements. Not long after, news came in one after another. The crown prince had occupied the Taishu sacred capital. With the Taishu sacred capital as the core, he occupied a large territory. The second prince announced to the world in the St. Origin starfield that the crown prince's crimes had been exposed. At the same time, he called on all the people of the Taishu dynasty to suppress the crown prince. For a time, the Taishu dynasty was in a state of turmoil. Everyone knew that the Taishu dynasty would soon usher in an earth-shattering war. The second prince and the crown prince would fight for the throne of the sacred emperor. The winner would become the new sacred emperor, while the loser would be killed. Therefore, all the clans were making careful choices. This was a huge gamble. Those who lost would face serious consequences. Of course, there were some who wanted to remain neutral and stay out of it, but they were only a minority. The major clans began to make their choices. Some joined the crown prince's side, while others joined the second prince's. For example, the Nine Sabers Heavenly King Palace, the Nine Serenities Heavenly King Palace, and the Nine Sabers Heavenly King Palace, which were closer to the St. Origin starfield, all joined the second prince's side. The Thousand Saints Heavenly King Palace chose to remain neutral. Lu Ming also chose to remain neutral and wait to see what would happen. However, there were obviously some who did not want Lu Ming to remain neutral. On this day, there was news that the second prince had come to visit. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. The second prince had come to visit him in person? Yes. Lu Ming said. On the hidden dragon star, in a large hall, the second prince walked in with 3 people. It's them. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. 2 of them were the sixth king and the green-haired old man in a black robe. This second prince is not simple at all. Lu Ming thought. The sixth king and the green-haired old man in a black robe had fled without a fight. Now, it seemed that they had done it on purpose. They did not want to fight seriously at all. They were just putting on a show. Chapter 35-39. What brings you here today, second prince? Lu Ming asked, even though he already knew the answer. He knew that the second prince must have found him because of his strength and wanted him to join the second prince's camp. Lu Ming, your strength has exceeded my expectations. The second prince smiled. You flatter me, second prince. Tell me why you're here. Lu Ming said. Alright, I'll get straight to the point. I believe you already know about the situation in the Taishu dynasty. I want to fight against the crown prince and I need your help. The second prince went straight to the point. This is a problem between you and the crown prince. Please forgive me, Lu Ming, for not being able to interfere. Lu Ming refused immediately. Of course, he refused. He couldn't be bothered to get involved in this kind of thing. The second prince's expression didn't change at all when Lu Ming refused. He had a smile on his face as if he knew that Lu Ming would reject him. Lu Ming, don't be in a hurry to reject me. Why don't you take a look at this first? The second prince smiled faintly and took out a jade talisman. The jade talisman glowed and an image appeared in the air. In the image, there was a courtyard. Two figures were sitting at a stone table in the middle of the courtyard. They seemed to be talking about something with a frown on their faces. Lu Ming's heart trembled wildly. This was because these two figures were his parents, Lu Yuntian and Li Ping. Boom! Lu Ming's body emitted a violent aura and shocking killing intent. Beside him, Zhu Xiong and the others also emitted a shocking aura. So you're the one who tricked my parents? Lu Ming said coldly. He stared at the second prince with an icy gaze. Tricked? I only invited them to my residence as guests. Look, they're living well. I didn't mistreat them. The second prince looked calm and wasn't afraid at all. Although he knew that Lu Ming was very powerful, he wasn't afraid at all. Not only because he had 3 quasi-emperors with him, but also because Lu Ming's parents were in his hands. Lu Ming didn't dare to touch him. Of course, what the second prince did not know was that there was only one quasi-emperor beside Lu Ming. If my parents lose a single hair, I won't let you off. Lu Ming's voice was extremely cold. He really did not expect that it was the second prince who had tricked his parents away. He had always thought that it was the crown prince. He had even suspected other forces that had a grudge against him, such as the 9 Nether Heavenly King Mansion or the Lan family. He had never expected it to be the second prince. Previously, the second prince had spoken up for him several times. Now, it seemed that the second prince's schemes were so deep that it made one's hair stand on end. Clearly, Cui Wei was one of the second prince's people. When he first entered the Void Academy, the second prince sent Cui Wei to approach him. They had already started planning for it. As long as you cooperate with me, your parents will be fine. The second prince smiled. All right, I'll cooperate with you. Let my parents go. Lu Ming said coldly. If I release your parents now, what if you go back on your word? Let's wait until the crown prince is dead. The second prince still maintained his smile. You? Lu Ming's face was unusually cold. However, since his parents were in the hands of the second prince, he could only agree. In 3 months, I will launch an attack on the great illusionary Saint capital. During this time, you can mobilize your forces. The second prince continued. After speaking, he stood up and walked out. After a few steps, he stopped and looked at Lu Ming. Actually, I originally wanted Cui Wei to take your parents away because I thought that you had amazing talent and might be useful in the future. I never expected that you would have so many experts by your side. Don't you think that even the heavens are helping me? Ha! After speaking, the second prince laughed and left. Scratch. Lu Ming clenched his fists. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. However, he could only agree to the second prince's request. After rescuing his parents, he would settle the score seriously. It's time for the undying demon to strike. Lu Ming muttered. Immediately, Lu Ming sent a message to Yi Tian, asking him to prepare the experts of the barbarian tribe. After that, Lu Ming went to the secret place of the Saint Demon Imperial Court. When he arrived at the secret place of the Saint Demon Imperial Court, he saw the undying Demon King. What was your cultivation at your peak? Lu Ming asked the undying Demon King. Do you still need to ask? I can survive from the Saint Demon Imperial Court until now. Do you think that a divine emperor can do the same? The undying Demon King looked at Lu Ming with disdain. However, deep in his eyes, there was a deep shock. It had not been long since they last met, but Lu Ming had reached the peak of the Divine King realm. Moreover, the energy in his body was shocking and could explode with terrifying power. Genius, an extremely terrifying genius. When he was young, he was not as powerful as Lu Ming. You're a divine emperor? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. If the undying Demon King was a divine emperor, there was no need to fight him. He could just kill the crown prince and the second prince. Ahem, I used to be a divine emperor. However, I was severely injured and sealed for so many years. My vitality was greatly damaged. Although I've recovered a little, I'm only a boundary emperor. The undying demon king smiled awkwardly. Boundary emperor? Lu Ming was stunned. Boy, don't underestimate me. Although I've only recovered to a boundary emperor, ordinary boundary emperors are nothing in front of me. The undying demon king said proudly. There were other divine emperors in the Saint Demon Imperial Court? Lu Ming asked curiously. Yes, the Saint Demon Imperial Court was very powerful. It was a true universe-level force. Today's barbarian tribe and Tianyi sacred dynasty were actually split from the Saint Demon Imperial Court. However, the divine emperor of the Saint Demon Imperial Court was killed by me before he could seal me. However, I was severely injured by him. Otherwise, do you think those people could seal me? The undying demon king sneered. I see. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that the Saint Demon Imperial Court was indeed powerful in its heyday. There was more than one divine emperor. Today's barbarian tribe, Tianyi sacred dynasty, and Taishu dynasty all belonged to the Saint Demon Imperial Court. After chatting for a while, Lu Ming asked the undying demon king to gather all the experts of the Saint Demon Imperial Court and go out with him. The undying demon king was set up by the demon's sealing array by the bone demon. Even if he was a divine emperor, it was useless. He could only obey. This made Lu Ming even more curious about the origin of the bone demon. According to the bone demon, Jing Yu had adventured in an ancient ruin and obtained the battle character secret art and the universe myriad Dao art. Of course, the bone demon was also included. However, when Lu Ming asked about the origin of the bone demon kept silent. He said that Lu Ming's cultivation was too low and it was better for him not to know. However, the bone demon's endless means made Lu Ming very curious. He speculated that the origin of the bone demon must be amazing. Soon after, the undying demon king gathered all the experts of the Saint Demon Imperial Court. Even many old monsters who were in seclusion were pulled up by him. To Lu Ming's surprise, the Saint Demon Imperial Court had 2 quasi-emperors in addition to the undying demon king. No wonder the Saint Demon Imperial Court dared to trouble the Taishu dynasty. They were not weak. Chapter 35-40. The stronger the Saint Devil dynasty was, the happier Lu Ming would be. Anyway, if he controlled the undying demon, it meant that he controlled the Saint Devil dynasty. If the people of the Saint Devil dynasty obeyed the undying demon, it meant that they obeyed Lu Ming. Although the people of the Saint Devil dynasty were curious why the undying demon obeyed Lu Ming, they did not dare to ask. This time, after the battle, when we win, I will carve out a territory for the people of the Saint Devil dynasty to live in. You don't have to hide here anymore. This was Lu Ming's promise to the Saint Devil dynasty. The people of the Saint Devil dynasty were looking forward to it. It had been 2 months since Lu Ming brought the people of the Saint Devil dynasty to the Hidden Dragon Star. Tian had already sent news that the barbarian army had set off through the wormhole. They would rush to the Taishu dynasty at the fastest speed. At this time, an uninvited guest came to visit Lu Ming. It was the imperial concubine, Kong Shishue. Lu Ming did not blame the imperial concubine. He only sympathized with her. Although Jing Yu was indirectly killed by the imperial concubine, Kong Shishue was the victim from the beginning to the end. Senior Kong, why are you looking for me? Lu Ming asked. Kong Shishue was Jing Yu's generation. Lu Ming should address her as senior. Lu Ming, given the current situation, what are your plans? If you need my help, I will do my best. Kong Shishue asked. Thank you, Senior Kong, but I have agreed to join forces with the second prince. Lu Ming said without hiding anything. Join forces with the second prince? Kong Shishue's face changed. She said, the second prince is very scheming. He has been hiding for many years. If you join forces with him and defeat the crown prince, I am afraid he will not let you go. I have no choice. My parents are in his hands. Lu Ming shook his head and sighed. Your parents are in the hands of the second prince? Kong Shishue frowned. She pondered for a while and said, I might be able to help you save your parents. What? Really? Lu Ming exclaimed, his eyes shining. I haven't been the Sage Emperor's concubine all these years for nothing. Not only have I secretly moved my family away, I've also planted people around the Sage Emperor, the Crown Prince, the Second Prince, and the others. I can mobilize them at any time. Right now, the Second Prince's attention is completely focused on the Crown Prince. When the battle with the Crown Prince begins, all the experts will be transferred away. At that time, my men will be able to rescue your parents. Kong Shishua said. Good. Then I'll leave Lu Ming to Senior Qian. Lu Ming cupped his fists deeply. You're welcome. You're Jing Yu's successor, and I owe Jing Yu too much. Kong Shishua sighed. There was a complicated look in her eyes, as if she was reminiscing about the past. After a while, Kong Shishua said, I'll go back and make arrangements. You pretend to cooperate with the Second Prince first. Once I rescue your parents, I'll send you a message. Okay. Lu Ming nodded. After a short discussion, Kong Shishua left. Lan Shu, the Netherworld Mountain is sealed in the small world. How do we unlock the seal and bring it out? After Kong Shishua left, Lu Ming asked Blue Merchant. Now that the truth of Jing Yu's case had come to light, it was time to release the Netherworld Mountain. Back then, it was a quasi-emperor who sealed the Netherworld Mountain. Therefore, to break the seal of the Netherworld Mountain, one must be at least at the quasi-emperor realm. Moreover, the Netherworld Mountain is in the spirit space. Once its energy leaks, the spirit space will be easily destroyed. Therefore, to successfully bring the Netherworld Mountain out, I'm afraid that one must be stronger than a quasi-emperor. Blue Merchant said. Back then, the Taishu Saint Emperor was really ruthless. He had to find someone stronger than a quasi-emperor to bring the Netherworld Mountain out. Where could he find such a person in the Taishu dynasty? However, there was a candidate now, and that was the Immortal Demon. The Immortal Demon was a divine emperor at his peak, but now he had fallen to a quasi-emperor. Could he do it? Immediately, Lu Ming called the Immortal Demon over and told him about it. Don't worry, leave it to me. Although I've fallen to the quasi-emperor realm, I still have my comprehension and control. I'm not comparable to an ordinary quasi-emperor. This is a piece of cake. The Immortal Demon was very confident. Let's go. Lu Ming said. Immediately, they went to the chaotic galaxy and the primordial realm of the heaven realm. With an existence like the Immortal Demon leading them, their speed was too fast. They crossed the starry sky at an astonishing speed. Not long after, they arrived at the entrance of the primordial realm of the heaven realm. Demon King, you have to be careful. Don't destroy the spirit space. Lu Ming warned seriously. With the Immortal Demon's realm, a strand of energy from a random pore could crush the primordial realm of the heaven realm and destroy the spirit space. The primordial realm of the heaven realm was the place where Lu Ming was born. It was Lu Ming's hometown. He didn't want it to be destroyed. Don't worry, I have perfect control of my own power. I won't leak any energy. In fact, not to mention a divine emperor, even a quasi-emperor can freely enter and exit all the spirit space. The Immortal Demon said. When one reached the quasi-emperor realm, one could perfectly control their own power. They could restrain all their power and enter the spirit space like an ordinary person. It would not cause any harm to the spirit space. Of course, if he went berserk, he might be able to destroy a spirit space with a single breath. Okay, then I'll leave it to you. Lu Ming nodded. Wait here. The Immortal Demon King said. His figure flashed and directly rushed into the primordial realm of the heaven realm. Lu Ming and Blue Merchant waited. The two of them didn't have to wait for too long. It was only a few minutes before the Immortal Demon King's figure flashed and reappeared. In his hand, he was holding a small mountain. Lu Ming was overjoyed when he saw it. It was the Netherworld Mountain. Let's go to the starry sky. Lu Ming said. They came to the starry sky. The Immortal Demon King waved his hand, and the Netherworld Mountain flew out. Then, it rapidly expanded. In the end, it turned into a huge mountain that floated in the starry sky. Of course, the Netherworld Mountain was not particularly big. It was only equivalent to a spirit space. It was far smaller than a planet in the primitive universe. There were also countless countries and cultivators living on the Netherworld Mountain. At this moment, countless cultivators on the Netherworld Mountain looked at the sky in shock. They felt that the sky had changed, as if the heavens and the earth had been changed. Then, an unbelievably rich divine chi surged into every corner of the Netherworld Mountain. The people of the Netherworld Mountain were about to go crazy. Oh my God, divine chi. It's all divine chi. Such rich divine chi. Compared to the divine chi in the past, it's like heaven and earth. I feel like I'm about to break through. With this divine chi, I can even break through to the realm of the gods. Shocked roars came from all over the Netherworld Mountain. In the depths of the Netherworld Mountain, on the Netherworld Island, a figure flashed and appeared above the island. If Lu Ming were here, he would definitely recognize him at a glance. He was White Fang. Chapter 3541. Divine Chi. Also, the laws of heaven and earth have changed. This is the primitive universe. Lu Ming has succeeded. Baiya muttered as his body trembled slightly. His eyes were filled with excitement. He did not expect Lu Ming to succeed so quickly. Outside Yellow Spring Mountain. Demon King, release the seal. Lu Ming said. Leave it to me. Undying Demon King nodded and waved his hands. Streams of Demon Dao divine power turned into runes and flew into Yellow Spring Mountain. Immediately, Yellow Spring Mountain was filled with light, forming a layer of resistance. This was the seal above. However, this seal had been set up for many years. With Undying Demon King's help, it did not resist for long before it was broken. Boom, boom, boom. The moment the seal was broken, some terrifying auras burst out from the depths of Yellow Spring Mountain. Powerful auras soared into the sky and rushed into the vast starry sky. These are 9th level and 8th level divine lords. Lu Ming was shocked. With his current vision, he could naturally sense the specific realm of these auras. 1 9th level divine lord, 3 8th level divine lords, and 6 7th level divine lords. In addition, there were quite a number of 7th level divine lords. This was an absolutely terrifying force. Lu Ming did not expect that there was such a terrifying force sealed in the depths of Yellow Spring Island. Back then, he did not sense it at all. Swoosh, swoosh. In the next moment, beams of divine light flew out from Yellow Spring Mountain. The divine light converged and figures appeared. Baiya. Lu Ming recognized at a glance that the person in the lead was really Baiya. The 9th level divine lord was also Baiya. Behind Baiya was a lava giant and a snake man. Lu Ming knew all of them. Back when he entered Netherworld Island, he passed a few rounds consecutively. They were the ones who guarded the rounds. However, back then, the cultivation of the lava giant and the snake man were below the divine realm. But now, they had reached the 8th level divine lord. Lu Ming. Baiya saw Lu Ming at a glance and revealed a look of joy. Then, their eyes fell on Blue Merchant. Master Lan. Baiya, Naga, and the others were overjoyed. They quickly cupped their fists at Blue Merchant. White Fang, we finally meet after so many years. Blue Merchant was also full of smiles. White Fang. Lu Ming also went over to say hello. Young master, did you succeed? White Fang asked in anticipation. Success. Lu Ming nodded. The smiles on the faces of White Fang and the others became even brighter. They had been waiting for this day for far too long. Now that they heard that they had succeeded, it was hard for them to hide their excitement. After a long while, they finally calmed down. Young master, you are indeed worthy of being the successor of the prince. It has only been a few years, but your cultivation has already reached the peak divine king realm. This is beyond our expectations. White Fang sighed. Don't talk about my cultivation. What's up with your cultivation? When I saw you back then, you didn't have such a cultivation base. Lu Ming asked curiously. Young master, the ones you saw back then were not our true bodies. They were just clones formed by a wisp of divine power. Our true bodies were sealed in the depths of Yellow Spring Island and couldn't come out at all. White Fang explained. White Fang was one of the 3 great generals under Jing Yu back then. He was a 9th level divine lord. Blue Merchant said with a smile. Lu Ming nodded. No wonder White Fang had such a cultivation base. Moreover, his cultivation base back then was too low. Compared to White Fang and the others, it was a world of difference. Therefore, he felt that the lava giant, Naga, and the others were just divine transformation realm experts with a wisp of divine power. He couldn't tell the difference at all. Young Master, Teacher Lan, what happened back then? Who was the one who framed His Highness? White Fang asked. Immediately, Lan Shang briefly explained the details of what had happened. After White Fang and the others heard it, they were dumbfounded. They never thought that the mastermind behind all this was the Taishu Sage Emperor. Next, there might be a final battle. I will need your help, Lu Ming said. We'll do anything. White Fang and the others looked determined. Lu Ming, come with me. The prince left something for you in Yellow Spring Mountain. Then White Fang said. Something? Lu Ming was curious. Then he flew into the depths of Yellow Spring Mountain with White Fang. In a stone cave, a round ball was suspended. This round ball looked like countless petals stacked together. At this moment, White Fang waved his hand and the petals on the round ball opened up, revealing a drop of blood inside. Yes, it was a drop of blood. Back then, when the prince was heavily injured, he knew that he was going to die, so he secretly sealed his remaining power into a drop of blood and let me bring it out. This drop of blood is for you. Once you use it, you can stimulate the power left behind by the prince, allowing you to erupt with great power. However, this drop of blood can only be used once. After that, it will completely dissipate. White Fang explained. Prince Jingyu's last power? Perhaps it can be used for the final battle. Lu Ming sighed softly and kept the round ball. At this moment, the Taishu dynasty was in turmoil and was divided into two large camps. Countless powerful people gathered in the Taishu holy capital and formed a huge army. The second prince also gathered a huge army and set off for the Taishu holy capital. At the same time, Lu Ming also led his people and set off for the Taishu holy capital. The great illusionary Saint capital was an ancient city that floated in space. At this moment, the entire Taishu holy capital was extremely bright, like a sun. This was because countless runes appeared on the walls of the Taishu holy capital. These runes formed a large formation that enveloped the Taishu holy capital. On the main city wall of the Taishu holy capital, the crown prince stood above and looked into the distance with a gloomy expression. Behind him were the Jun Wang, the imperial advisor, the quasi-emperors of the Bone Sword tribe, the quasi-emperors of the Dragon-Human tribe, the bald, black-robed youth, and the commander-in-chief of the annihilating 13 barbarian armies. This person was also a quasi-emperor and his status was not lower than the Jun Wang. There were a total of 6 quasi-emperors lined up in a row. Behind them were other powerful people, such as the heavenly kings of the heavenly king palaces and the family heads of the Taishu holy capital families, such as the Lan family head. These people were all powerful people and their cultivation was above the 7th level of the Divine Lord realm. They were also looking into the distant sky. In the starry sky, there were countless battleships. This was the army that the second prince had gathered. On the right side of the army, there was another army. This army belonged to Lu Ming. He had brought all the powerful people under him. In addition, there were also powerful people from the Heavenly King Palace who had joined Lu Ming. In this way, Lu Ming had 5 quasi-emperors on his side, including the Heavenly King Qian Sheng. Of course, the immortal Demon King was not an ordinary quasi-emperor. However, when Holy Heavenly King saw Undying Demon King and the rest, he was really shocked. After Lu Ming's explanation, he finally understood what was going on. However, he was also extremely shocked. Lu Ming had even subdued the powerful people of the Saint Demon's imperial court. He knew that he had underestimated Lu Ming. Jinglin, you killed the emperor and your father. You tried to usurp the throne. The heavens will not tolerate this. Today is the day you die. The second prince stood at the forefront. His voice traveled hundreds of millions of miles and reached the Taishu holy capital. Only a 7th-level Divine Lord realm cultivator could transmit his voice so far. Ordinary Divine Lords could not do it. Father framed Brother Jingyu. His methods are too despicable. Moreover, he went crazy and wanted to eliminate the various major palaces. I had no choice but to follow the wishes of the people. Now that father has passed away, I am the crown prince. I should be the new sacred emperor. Second brother, you sent people to attack me. Now you have committed treason. The crown prince's voice was also heard. Although everyone knew what they had done, they still had to make it clear that they were not in the wrong. You murdered father. Do you think you are fit to be the new sacred emperor? Today I will suppress you on behalf of father. The second prince's voice was heard. Then his body flashed and he returned to a warship. Chapter 35-42. Rumble. Huge battleships started to move, giving off a bright light. Countless runes appeared on the battleships. Then huge beams of light shot towards the great void sage capital. The power of these light beams was extremely terrifying. Every one of them could destroy a planet. In an instant, at least 1,000 beams of light shot towards the great void sage capital. At the same time, Lu Ming's battleship started to move as well. Similarly, beams of light shot towards the great void sage capital. Boom, boom, boom. More than 1,000 beams of light hit the light shield outside the great void sage capital, causing the light shield to shake violently. However, this was formed by the great void sage capital's array. The great void sage capital had been around for so many years, constantly perfecting the array. The power of the defensive array had also reached a shocking level. These beams of light could destroy 1,000 planets in an instant, but they couldn't break through the great void sage capital's array. Continue to attack. The second prince continued to give orders. The battleships continued to attack. Terrifying beams of light shot towards the great void sage capital. The light shield outside the great void sage capital shook violently, blocking all the beams of light. However, although the light shield blocked all the beams of light, the light shield's brightness was slowly dimming. Although the process was slow, it was indeed dimming. If this continued, the defensive array of the great void sage capital would be broken sooner or later. In the middle of Lu Ming's battleship, Lu Ming, Blue Merchant, Giant Bear, Undying Demon King, White Fang, and the rest all looked coldly at the crystal screen in front of the battleship. Just like that, the bombardment continued for a full day. Senior Kong, is there still no news? Lu Ming asked Kong Shishue, who was standing beside him. This time, Kong Shishue had brought a group of experts to meet up with Lu Ming. She planned to participate in the final battle. At the same time, her subordinates had already started to rescue Lu Ming's parents. As long as they succeeded, she would receive news. Not yet. They have already started. This time, the second prince has brought all the experts with him. There shouldn't be any problems. Kong Shishue said. Lu Ming nodded and waited patiently. The bombardment continued, and the light of the great void holy capital's defensive array grew dimmer and dimmer. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. At this point, the light of the great illusionary divine capital's defensive formation was already very dim. No matter how strong the formation was, under such continuous attacks, its power would be slowly depleted. However, with so many battleships constantly attacking, the consumption of energy was also very shocking. After a few days, the second prince and Lu Ming had almost used up all of their divine crystals. Attack! Break their formation. The second prince's voice was heard. Then, numerous figures flew out of the battleships. The second prince personally led his subordinates and charged towards the great illusionary divine capital. Let's make a move too, Lu Ming said. He also brought the Undying Demon King and the others out of the battleship and flew towards the Taishu holy capital. The second prince's voice was heard. Immediately, countless attacks covered the sky and charged towards the great illusionary divine capital. Among them, the attacks of the quasi-emperors were earth-shattering. They were so powerful that they covered the entire great illusionary divine capital, as if they were going to blow it up. Of course, Lu Ming only allowed the Giant Bear and Holy Thousand Heavenly King to attack. The Undying Demon King, the 2 quasi-emperors of the Saint Devil Empire, and the other experts did not attack. It was not time for them to attack yet. they would hide their strength first. With so many experts attacking, the great illusionary divine capital's defensive array shook violently and shook even more violently. Get ready. Once the array is broken, charge out and kill all the rebels. The Crown Prince's voice was heard in the great illusionary divine capital. The great illusionary divine capital's defensive array was already about to be broken. Now that so many experts were attacking, the great illusionary divine capital's defensive array was even more vulnerable. In just a moment, crack, crack, a crack appeared on the defensive array. Then, more and more cracks appeared and covered the entire defensive array. Get ready! The Crown Prince shouted. Bam! In the next moment, the defensive array exploded and dissipated into energy. Once the defensive array was broken, the Crown Prince's army rushed out and collided with the Second Prince's army and Lu Ming's army. An intense battle ensued. Kings against kings, soldiers against soldiers. The quasi-emperors from both sides fought fiercely. There were 6 quasi-emperors on the Crown Prince's side. On the other hand, there were only 5 quasi-emperors on the Second Prince's side. However, with the addition of Holy Thousand Heavenly King and the Giant Bear, Lu Ming's side had 1 more quasi-emperor and they had the upper hand. The 9th and 8th level divine lords who were below the quasi-emperors were also engaged in an intense battle. With so many experts fighting fiercely, the scene was terrifying. The force of the storm seemed to be able to destroy an entire galaxy. The storm swept across and the planets around the great illusionary divine capital exploded one after another. However, the living beings on these planets had already been moved to the great illusionary divine capital, and there were not many casualties. Lu Ming, there's news. Your parents have been rescued and moved to a safe place. At this moment, Kong Shishue transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. They've been rescued. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Don't worry, there won't be a problem. Kong Shishue said. All right, thank you. Lu Ming took a deep breath and then suddenly shouted, Retreat! As Lu Ming's voice rang out, the people he led slowly retreated. They stopped attacking and went into a defensive position. Lu Ming, what are you doing? The Second Prince shouted when he saw Lu Ming retreating. However, Lu Ming's expression was calm and he could not be bothered with the Second Prince. Bastard, do you not care about your parents' lives? If you want them to die, I'll fulfill your wish. The Second Prince hollered. His voice was transmitted to Lu Ming's ears through voice transmission. However, Lu Ming ignored him and led his people to retreat from the battlefield. Seeing this, the Crown Prince was overjoyed and ordered, Ignore Lu Ming and the rest. The Crown Prince's subordinates stopped pursuing Lu Ming and the rest and turned their attention to the Second Prince. Originally, with Lu Ming and the rest, the Crown Prince's side was already at a disadvantage. However, with Lu Ming's departure, the Crown Prince's strength increased. In an instant, the Crown Prince's side had turned from defeat to victory. The battle was too intense. There were continuous screams and blood splattered across the starry sky. Every moment, there were people dying. Divine kings and even divine lords were being hunted down. Boom! A quasi-emperor on the Second Prince's side was surrounded by 2 quasi-emperors from the Crown Prince's side. He could not hold on and retreated while coughing up blood. Second brother, today will be the day you die. The Crown Prince's eyes were cold as he said coldly. He did not know why Lu Ming had helped the Second Prince at the beginning and then suddenly retreated. However, he did not care about that. He only wanted to seize the opportunity to eliminate the Second Prince. As long as the Second Prince was eliminated, Lu Ming would not be a concern. After all, Lu Ming only had 2 or 3 quasi-emperors. That was what the Crown Prince thought. Chapter 35-43. Jinglin, do you really think you can defeat me? What a joke! The Second Prince sneered. At this moment he had calmed down. His face was ferocious. A voice transmission jade talisman appeared in his hand and he sent out a message. In the next instant, a bright light shone in the north of the great void holy capital. The void there trembled continuously and rippled like water. Then, one figure after another appeared. Sir gods. All of them were Sir gods. This was because they were sent from afar through the teleportation formation. Only Sir Gods could do this. Their numbers added up to a shocking 5,000. 5,000 Sir Gods. This was a terrifying force. For example, the 9 Extinction Heavenly King Mansion only had about 100 Sir Gods. Of course, the 9 Extinction Heavenly King Mansion was the weakest among the 27 Heavenly King Mansions. The strongest Heavenly King Mansions had more than 1,000 Sir Gods. There were at least tens of thousands of Sir Gods in the Taishu dynasty. However, these 5,000 Sir Gods had shocking auras. Every one of them was an expert. Some of the leaders had earth-shattering auras. They were all boundary emperors. Tianyi Holy Emperor. The Crown Prince shouted in shock. These people were all experts from the Tianyi Holy dynasty. Even Tianyi Holy Emperor had come personally. Ha, it's so lively. Let's join in the fun. Tianyi Holy Emperor laughed. He led his experts and rushed towards the Crown Prince. They formed an encirclement with the second prince to surround the Crown Prince. The Crown Prince was shocked. He shouted, Jingyuan, you have defected to the Tianyi Holy dynasty. Jingyuan was the second prince's name. What defection? We are just cooperating. Tianyi Holy Emperor, kill Jinglin. I will fulfill my promise to you. The second prince said, Don't talk to me like that. Tianyi Holy Emperor glanced at the second prince unhappily. Then he led his men to attack the Crown Prince. Tianyi Holy Emperor, what did Jingyuan promise you? I can give you double. The Crown Prince shouted. His face was ugly. He did not expect the second prince to hook up with Tianyi Holy Emperor. This way he was in danger. Tianyi Saint Emperor had brought a lot of experts. There were at least 6 or 7 quasi-emperor realm experts. They were too strong. Together with the second prince's men, he couldn't fight against them at all. I'm sorry, but I'm a man of my word. Since I agreed to work with Jingyuan first, I won't go back on my word. Tianyi Saint Emperor sneered. Then he led his men to attack the Crown Prince from behind. Miserable shrieks rang out as the Crown Prince's forces were besieged. His formation was thrown into chaos, and it was impossible to say how many experts were killed. Kill! The second prince roared and took the opportunity to surround him. At the same time, the quasi-emperors of both sides were also engaged in an intense battle. However, the Crown Prince's side was completely at a disadvantage. He was no match for them at all, because it was almost 2 against 1, especially Tianyi Holy Emperor, who was comparable to Taishu Holy Emperor. He was half a step into the godly emperor realm. The Tianyi Holy Emperor and another quasi-emperor surrounded a bald, black-robed old man on the Crown Prince's side. The bald, black-robed old man was no match for him at all. All he could do was defend and not fight back. After blocking a few moves, he was hit by Taishu Holy Emperor's battle sword. With a miserable shriek, he was split into 2 halves. However, he was not dead yet. He controlled his broken body to retreat frantically, trying to escape. Tianyi sword formation. Tianyi Holy Emperor said coldly. Countless battle swords flew out of his eyes, forming a sword formation that surrounded the bald black-robed old man. Then, the sword formation rolled up, and the bald black-robed old man was reduced to ashes before he could even scream. He was completely dead. This was the first quasi-emperor to be killed. In this way, the Crown Prince's side was left with only 5 quasi-emperors, and he was even more at a disadvantage. In the distance, Lu Ming and the others were also shocked. This scene was also beyond their expectations. The second prince's scheming was deeper than they had imagined. It could be said that he was fully prepared. In the beginning, not only did he rely on Lu Ming's strength, but he also left a backup plan and the strength of the Tianyi sacred dynasty. The Crown Prince was no match for him at all. The outcome has been decided. Blue Merchant said. The Crown Prince's defeat was already decided. There was nothing he could do. Retreat, retreat. The Crown Prince roared. He wanted to retreat. Unfortunately, they were completely surrounded. The remaining 5 quasi-emperors, such as Lord Jun, the State Preceptor, and the experts of the Bone Sword tribe, were surrounded by the second prince and the quasi-emperors of the Tianyi sacred dynasty. No matter how they attacked, it was useless. Not long after, the quasi-emperor of the Bone Sword tribe screamed and was killed by several quasi-emperors. The state preceptor's hair was disheveled, and his divine power was burning fiercely. He wanted to rush out. His combat strength was very strong, not weaker than the Holy Emperor. Unfortunately, it was useless in the end. Tianyi Holy Emperor had joined forces with two quasi-emperors to deal with the state preceptor. No matter how strong the state preceptor was, he was powerless. In the end, he was cut in half by Tianyi Holy Emperor's sword. "I surrender." At this moment, Lord Jun roared. If this went on, they would all die, so he chose to surrender. "I surrender too." The quasi-emperor of the dragon human race roared. They helped the crown prince because they wanted to obtain a higher status, not to die. In the face of such a situation, they directly abandoned the crown prince. "I allow you to surrender," the second prince said. They were quasi-emperors. In the future, when he inherited the sacred emperor's throne, they would be useful. He did not want to kill them all. Unfortunately, Tianyi Holy Emperor did not agree. "It's best to kill these people. Don't you understand that you have to remove the roots?" Tianyi Holy Emperor sneered, and his attacks became even more violent. "You!" The second prince gritted his teeth. How could he not know what Tianyi Holy Emperor was thinking? He wanted to weaken the power of the Taishu dynasty as much as possible now. Then, in the future, the Taishu dynasty would be restrained by the Tianyi Holy Emperor. However, at this time, the second prince wanted to borrow the power of the Tianyi Holy Emperor. He had no choice but to agree and continue to attack. Lord Jun and the others were even more desperate. "Second prince, you are inviting a wolf into the house by cooperating with Tianyi Holy Emperor." Lord Jun roared. However, the second prince was determined. No matter how he shouted, it was useless. Instead, Tianyi Holy Emperor targeted him. The sword formation crushed down, and Lord Jun coughed up a mouthful of blood. The other quasi-emperors attacked. Lord Jun screamed, and his body exploded. Under the destructive power, his body and soul were destroyed. The situation was clear. It was completely one-sided. The experts on the crown prince's side were constantly killed, and the quasi-emperors fell one after another. Soon, the crown prince's 6 quasi-emperors were all killed. And those 9th level and 8th level divine lord existences also perished in large batches. It was useless even if they surrendered. Tianyi Holy Emperor was determined to take the opportunity to weaken the strength of the Taishu dynasty. The second prince could only cooperate. The crown prince's face was pale. He stood in the starry sky, and his eyes were full of unwillingness and despair. After a while, the crown prince's subordinates who were above the 7th level divine lord realm were almost all killed. Only then did Tianyi Holy Emperor allow the crown prince's subordinates to surrender. This was because those below the 7th level divine lord realm could not change the overall situation. Chapter 35-44. In the end, the crown prince was surrounded by countless people, leaving him all alone. "Jinglin, it's over for you. Kill yourself." The second prince said coldly. "Jingyuan, fight me to the death if you have the ability." The crown prince roared. His eyes were red as he stared at the second prince. He found it hard to accept that he had been defeated. He had sacrificed so much, but in the end, the second prince had taken advantage of him. He couldn't accept it. Fight to the death? I don't think it's necessary. If you don't kill yourself, I'll have to get someone to do it. "Sixth uncle, I'll leave him to you." The second prince said to the sixth prince. "All right." The sixth prince stepped out and a violent aura pressed down on the crown prince. The crown prince was a 9th level divine lord. He was very strong, but compared to a boundary emperor, there was still a huge gap. "Jing Yuan, don't think about it. You won't succeed. I curse you to die a horrible death." The crown prince roared crazily and then rushed to the back. "I'll die a horrible death? Ha, then I'll let you see how I become a sage emperor. Sixth uncle, don't kill him. Destroy his star core. I want him to watch helplessly." The second prince shouted. Boom. The sixth prince made his move. His palm covered the sky and blocked the crown prince's escape route. The crown prince roared and tried his best to resist. But it was useless. There was a huge gap between a 9th-level divine lord and a boundary emperor. After a few moves, the crown prince coughed out blood. Then, the 6th prince's fist landed on his dantian. The crown prince let out a roar of rage and despair. Cracking sounds could be heard from his dantian. Then, a powerful wave of energy surged out. His star core was destroyed and he was now a cripple. An ordinary person's soul wasn't as strong as Blue Merchant's. With his star core destroyed, he had lost all his divine energy. He couldn't use most of his techniques, not even his secret physique technique. Secret physique techniques required divine energy to activate. At most, he could only rely on the strength of his divine body. The crown prince probably couldn't even defeat an ordinary divine king. He was completely crippled. The crown prince fell to the ground in despair. The 2nd prince ordered people to bring him chains and lock him up. Then, the 2nd prince looked in the direction of Lu Ming and the others, a cold, murderous intent flashing in his eyes. Holy Emperor Tianyi, can you do me another favor and eliminate that group of people? The 2nd prince said to Tianyi Saint Emperor. Of course. Tianyi Saint Emperor smiled. If he could weaken the strength of the Taishu dynasty, why not? If he could weaken the Taishu dynasty to a certain extent, he might be able to destroy the Taishu dynasty in one fell swoop. Swish. Swish. The 2nd prince and the others moved and rushed towards Lu Ming and the others. They formed a fan shape and surrounded Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming, you didn't expect this, did you? Before the 2nd prince's men arrived, his voice came from afar, full of pride. He thought he had guessed Lu Ming's thoughts. He thought that Lu Ming had retreated just now because he wanted to let him and the crown prince fight. Both sides would be injured and Lu Ming would be able to take advantage of the situation. Then, when he saw Tianyi Saint Emperor's men appear and eliminate the crown prince in one fell swoop, Lu Ming was probably scared out of his wits. That was why Lu Ming did not escape. Because Lu Ming knew that he could not escape. The 2nd prince thought that he had seen through Lu Ming's thoughts. Lu Ming's face was calm. He stood there and watched as the 2nd prince and the people of the Tianyi sacred dynasty slowly approached. They formed a fan shape and surrounded Lu Ming and the others. The 2nd prince did not attack immediately. He looked at Lu Ming and the others calmly. Kong Shishue, I didn't expect you to be here. Now, come over. Come to my side and I can spare your life. The 2nd prince's gaze fell on Kong Shishue. His eyes were burning with passion. Jingyuan, just give up. Even if I die, I won't have anything to do with you. Kong Shishue said coldly. Swordsman. Kong Shishue's words seemed to stab the 2nd prince. His face twisted. After a while, the 2nd prince recovered and smiled. He said, Kong Shishue, do you know why father went to your family? Let me tell you, it was all arranged by me. Ha. What? It was you. Kong Shishue's body trembled. Her eyes were filled with hatred. Kong Shishue was originally from a small family in the Taishu sage capital. She met Jingyu by chance and fell in love with him. However, the Taishu sage emperor had never seen Kong Shishue. When Jingyu was in seclusion, the Taishu sage emperor suddenly came to Kong Shishue's family and saw Kong Shishue. That was how the Taishu sage emperor forced Kong Shishue to marry her. She had always thought that it was a coincidence that the Taishu sage emperor came to the Kong residence. She did not expect that it was all arranged by the 2nd prince. I met you at the same time as Jingyu. I pursued you bitterly, but you fell in love with Jingyu. If I couldn't have you, neither could Jingyu. I might as well let father destroy the both of you. At the same time, father can also deal a blow to Jingyu. Ha! Also, I knew that father was jealous of Jingyu. That was why I always sent people to tell father about Jingyu. I told him that all the officials in the Taishu sage capital believed that Jingyu was the chosen one and was the most powerful person in the Taishu dynasty. He was the uncrowned king. That was why the old man became even more jealous. In the end, he found a chance to kill Jingyu. Ha, what do you think? What do you think of my plan? I killed many birds with one stone by getting rid of Jingyu. The 2nd prince laughed heartily. Lu Ming, Blue Merchant, and the others were all shocked. They had never thought that there would be so much inside information. Back then, the second prince had also pursued Kong Shishua. However, she ended up falling in love with Jingyu. Furthermore, the Taishu sage emperor had killed Jingyu because of his jealousy. Another reason was because of the second prince. The second prince had sent people to sow discord and provoke the Taishu sage emperor. There were two reasons why the Taishu sage emperor had killed Jingyu. One was because he was jealous of Jingyu. The other was because he had snatched away Jingyu's lover, Kong Shishua. Both of these reasons were related to the second prince. It could be said that the second prince was the main culprit behind Jingyu's death. It turned out that the second prince was the mastermind behind all of this. Jingyuan, you're despicable. Kong Shishua trembled. Despicable? This is called strategy. I was unlucky to have Jinglin. He was only born earlier than me, but he was already crowned as the crown prince. There was also Jingyu. He was so talented. If I didn't get rid of the two of them, how could I become the sage emperor? Didn't I succeed now? Since ancient times, the winner takes all. Kong Shishua, I'll give you one more chance. Come here and be my woman. I can let you go. The second prince said loudly. Dream on. I'd rather die. Kong Shishua's face was cold. She looked at the second prince with disgust. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. The second prince roared, his face ferocious. Chapter 35-45. The second prince looked ferocious and was about to send someone to attack. In his opinion, Lu Ming only had 3 quasi-emperors, while he had 5. Together with the people from the Tianyi Holy Dynasty, he could easily crush Lu Ming. Today is the day you die. Before the second prince could do anything, a cold voice was heard. It was Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming's murderous intent was extremely cold. It was directed at the second prince. He must kill the second prince. It could be said that the second prince was behind everything that happened in the Taishu dynasty. Without him, even if the Holy Emperor was jealous of Jingyu, he might not have killed Jingyu. It could be said that Jingyu's real enemies were the Taishu Holy Emperor and the second prince. This person was despicable and cunning. Leaving him alive would cause endless trouble in the future. You want to kill me? Ha! The second prince laughed and looked at Lu Ming as if he was looking at a fool. You want to kill me with your strength? It seems that you can only do so in your next life. The second prince was full of disdain. Is that so? Lu Ming smiled faintly and looked behind the second prince and the rest. Because in the starry sky behind them, the void fluctuated and flashed continuously. Tall and burly figures appeared there. The experts from the barbarian tribe had arrived. Obviously, the second prince, Tianyi Holy Emperor, and the others also sensed it. They quickly looked behind and their expressions changed. The barbarian tribe. Someone exclaimed. Swish, swish. As soon as the experts from the barbarian tribe appeared, they rushed toward the second prince and the others at an amazing speed. Damn it, it's Etion. The second prince saw Etion in the barbarian tribe army at a glance. Etion was Jingyu's general and had defected to Lu Ming. Now, Etion had led the experts from the barbarian tribe to attack. Obviously, the experts from the barbarian tribe were on Lu Ming's side. Damn it, why is Lu Ming with the barbarian tribe? The second prince roared in his heart. There were many experts from the barbarian tribe. The current barbarian emperor obeyed Etion. Hence, when Etion spoke, the barbarian emperor would not refuse. The barbarian emperor had given the order. It turned out that the barbarian tribe's foundation had been mobilized. In addition to the other quasi-emperors of the barbarian tribe, the number of experts they had was no less than that of the Tianyi sacred dynasty. Emperor Tianyi's expression changed swiftly, and he said, Jingyuan, leave the barbarians to me. I'll stop them while you deal with Lu Ming. End the battle quickly, and then we'll join forces to repel the barbarians. Alright. The second prince nodded. Then Tianyi Saint Emperor led the masters of the Tianyi sacred dynasty and rushed toward the barbarians. Boom boom, the experts of both sides hadn't even come into contact with each other yet, but the terrifying chi had already collided in the void. Terrifying rumbling sounds rang out as the void continued to explode. In the end, the two armies clashed and slaughtered each other. Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to be able to invite the barbarian tribe. But it's still useless. The second prince yelled and gave the order to attack. Immediately, the 5 quasi-emperors under his command took action. They targeted Giant Bear and Holy Heavenly King. They thought that in Lu Ming's army, only Giant Bear and Holy Heavenly King were quasi-emperors. As long as the 2 of them were killed, the others were not worth mentioning. Demon King, make your move. Lu Ming's cold voice rang out. Are you finally going to make your move? I can't wait any longer. The undying Demon King revealed a ferocious look. He laughed grimly and took a step forward. Boom! Overwhelming demonic chi burst out, shaking the starry sky. The demonic power was boundless. He threw out a palm strike, and an incomparably huge palm print covered the starry sky, clashing with the second prince's 2 quasi-emperors. Terrifying rumbling sounds rang out, and terrifying cracks appeared in the starry sky. The undying Demon King was unscathed, and the 2 quasi-emperors retreated rapidly. At the same time, Giant Bear, Holy Heavenly King, and the other 2 quasi-emperors of the Saint Demon Imperial Court also made their moves. The raging aura surged toward the second prince. The second prince's eyes widened rapidly, and his eyeballs were about to explode. He was in disbelief. He had never thought that there would be so many quasi-emperors in Lu Ming's army. You're from the Saint Demon Imperial Court. How dare you collude with the Saint Demon Imperial Court? The second prince roared hysterically. Kill! The undying Demon King responded with a roar. Saint Demon Wheel. The undying Demon King waved his hand, and a huge wheel appeared. It seemed to be formed by countless demon blades, and crushed toward one of the quasi-emperors under the second prince. The quasi-emperor shouted and took out a monarch-grade divine artifact, but the moment it collided with the wheel, the monarch-grade divine artifact shattered into pieces. The quasi-emperor's expression changed drastically, and he unleashed all his attacks. He used his origin secret technique and blasted it toward the undying Demon King. But it was all in vain. The quasi-emperor's attack was vulnerable under the Saint Demon Wheel of the undying Demon King. The black wheel crushed all the quasi-emperor's attacks and defenses in an instant. This is impossible. The quasi-emperor opened his eyes wide and shouted in disbelief. They were both quasi-emperors, but he was so much weaker than his opponent. He was completely vulnerable. Bang! As soon as he shouted, the Saint Demon Wheel crushed down. The quasi-emperor's body instantly exploded and turned into ashes. A quasi-emperor was almost killed in an instant. This was the strength of the undying Demon King. At his peak, he was a true divine emperor. Even if he had lost most of his cultivation and was only at the quasi-emperor level, a quasi-emperor of the same level would be vulnerable in front of him. How is this possible? The second prince was the most shocked. He was almost scared out of his wits. That quasi-emperor was killed just like that. It was hard for him to accept. Trash. After killing that quasi-emperor, the undying Demon King shouted coldly and charged toward the next quasi-emperor. That quasi-emperor was the sixth prince. The sixth prince's expression changed drastically, but he was firmly entangled by the heavenly saint. Buzz. The undying Demon King waved his hand and another Saint Demon Will came crashing down on the sixth Wanya. No! The sixth prince shouted and resisted with all his strength. He was slightly stronger than the previous quasi-emperor, but he could not change the outcome. As the Saint Demon Will crushed down, he screamed and died on the spot, following in the footsteps of the previous quasi-emperor. This time, not only were the second prince's people shocked, but the heavenly saint and the others were also shocked. Haha, Jinyuan, you won't succeed. You'll end up like me, a loser. The crown prince laughed wildly. Seeing the second prince's experts killed, the crown prince was extremely excited. You're courting death. The second prince roared and killed the crown prince with a slap. Everyone killed. Lu Ming ordered, and the rest of his subordinates charged toward the second prince's side. It was the Dark Ape Battle Tribe. 100,000 Dark Ape Battle Tribe members all used their primitive divine bodies and turned into King Kong raging apes. They're all primitive divine bodies. Someone on the second prince's side exclaimed in shock. After the quasi-emperors were killed one after another, the morale of the second prince's army plummeted. Seeing so many primitive divine bodies, their morale was even lower. When the two sides clashed, a large portion of the second prince's army was killed. You're tuning in to the Passion Page's YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.